Well, good morning. Good morning. Hello. How are you? It's so great to see you. So I'm here, and it's just about 10:45, and I was trying to get on here for 10:30, and I apologize if you were standing there on one foot waiting, because the irony is this: I'm talking about distractions today, and just as I was getting ready to go on, the phone rang, and I looked at the number, and I thought, oh, and I have to take the call. So, my apologies. I want to talk now about the thing we do. So, I I think it's really important to have these conversations. I'm just kind of looking at what happened to my hair. I think it's really important for us to have these conversations as a kind of a check-in. And I was over on Facebook a few minutes ago talking about, sort of as a teaser, talking about this idea, and I want to run it by you because I think it's important that we take a good look in the mirror at the things that we think are overwhelming us, because in some cases we are the ones who are allowing it to happen. So what if what if the distractions that we simply, my God, I just can't get anything done. What if we are actually welcoming the distractions because we don't want to get things done? I mean, we'd like to. I should do this and I should do that. By the way, the translation of I should do this and I should do that is I'm not going to be doing that. I just don't like to sound negative. Oh, I know I should be doing that. So, what if we don't want to take that next step? What if the person we're with, having, I don't know, something to eat, or we decided to go see a movie, what if we're really not that into it? What if we said we would do something and, oh, I know, I said I would do it, so here I am. What if we would just rather not be there? Why can't we say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I said I would, but I can't. Why not? You don't want to be rude. You don't want to say because I don't care enough. What we need to learn to do is set our boundaries. Is phone just buzzed. What we need to do is establish guidelines, establish codes of ethics and codes of conduct and strategic ways we do things. There's this whole conversation about people like us do things like this way. Well, who said so? Who said so? And why can't we change it? Why can't we decide that people like us, me in particular, no longer wish to do it that way? What if my rules have changed? What if my priorities have changed? What if, there was a time when I wasn't really focused on what I'm doing and where I'm going, that I kind of like to stop in at my local pub 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week. But what if I have more important things to do now? And people are saying, we never see you anymore. I know, and I'm so sorry. I'm not going to say to my friends, that's because I have better things to do. I have to say something else that doesn't hurt their feelings, but is true. What do I say? The answer, in fact, I gave this answer to someone the other day. I said, I appreciate your passion and I love the time we spend together. Right now isn't working. I can't really be in two places at once. So, and I'm going to have to beg off for a certain period of time that I told them. And I said, it's not because I don't care. It's because I got stuff. And they said, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So I was making a bigger deal of it than it was. And right away, I felt relieved. Oh, thanks. If the person says, oh, no, I was really counting on it. Well, I'm sorry. I am sorry. And I cannot cut myself into 3 or 4 pieces and be everywhere. And I have to do this. And I hope you understand. And either they do or they don't. But if they don't understand, it doesn't mean you try to spin around and be all things to all people, right? It does not mean that. Now, an analogy I want to give is something that not a lot of people actually participate in. So when I learned to drive, just after Columbus came to America, I learned to drive on a manual transmission car. Now, for those of you who automatically buy an automatic transmission, it's simple. You take it out of park, past reverse, and into drive. And you don't have to do anything. I'd put my foot on the brake if I were you, just so you don't lunge back and forth. But basically, and the reason, by the way, you put your foot on the brake is so. But when it's a manual transmission, what you have to do in order to go from one gear to the next is you have to go through neutral. Why? Why do you have to go through neutral? Because each gear literally is a gear wheel with teeth. And they engage. You're in gear when the teeth are engaged. When you slip out of engaged, you're not in gear and you're revving your engines. You're in neutral. So every time you shift gears on a manual vehicle, motorcycle, car, you must in gear, out of gear, into the next gear. You have to go through neutral, or the vehicle makes a really terrifying noise. Let me tell you how terrifying it is. Makes a terrifying noise. And if you do it often enough, you'll strip the gears. And stripping the gears means you'll have a huge repair bill because the gear won't have those nice teeth that engage. It'll be permanently damaged and they'll have to be replaced. If you can remember that image, and you can watch a video on how gears work, and it'll show you visually. How else? It will show you what I'm saying to you. And why I'm saying it to you is that we are not doing that for ourselves. This business with the phone, this distraction that the phone has become, that we can't seem to stop finding out what just happened somewhere out there to people we don't even know. And we are making that a bigger priority than the people we're with and the moments we're in. We're making that, which has no value, no real benefit to us in any way, we're making that a bigger priority than this moment here, me with you. Can you imagine if I was doing the video like this? Can you imagine? How long would you watch? Or would you be watching just to see how fast my scrolling fingers go? How texting? Yeah, oh, I'll be right there. Sorry. Yeah, yes. How do you spell, How insulting. How insulting to you that you took the time to watch a video with me, assuming I would be talking to you, and instead I seem to feel that I'm allowed to be rude and ignore you in the middle of the video. That would be crazy. But people are doing it increasingly. There was a guy on the news the other day who said, yeah, I know I shouldn't be looking at my phone while I'm driving, but those short reel videos, they're so addictive. Those short reel videos are so addictive. I know it would be illegal. I could understand answering a text if your significant other had been in an accident or was pregnant and being rushed to the hospital, or somebody was violently ill, or your house was on fire. I would get that. Even though you'd still get fined, I would get that you would say, I'll be right there, I'm 6 blocks away. I mean, I would get that. I would see calling 911. Those short reel videos are so addictive. And you're the one who caused the 7-car pileup. I see. And altered forever thousands of lives. That's wrong. So in terms of our distractions, I want to talk about the fact that there are basically 3 kinds of distractions. I think the first one, and I mentioned this on Facebook, I think the first one is us giving away our power to something external so that we can claim it wasn't our fault that we didn't show up 100% in the moment. Oh, I know. It's just these videos. It's this. No, no. The thing I'm saying is this. It's not, the question is not why you're distracted, why you're so easily distracted, why it can be the phone, or it can be a game, it can be streaming, it can be a hobby, it can be eating, it can be anything. The question is not why you're so easily distracted. The question is why you're not engaged. What is it that isn't enough for you? That you don't care to be in the moment, that you can't be bothered to make the commitment to bring all of you and your A game. That's the thing to think about. That's the thing to understand. That's the first kind of distraction situation. Okay? We giving away our power means we are not engaged. We don't care enough to own. We don't want to be bothered. It's number one. Number two is when we have too many irons in the fire, too much on our plates. Now, let's talk about the people most publicly, obviously, in that situation. Let's talk about overworked people, doctors and nurses and first responders and soldiers on the front lines and police and volunteers who are doing really important work, and teachers and security people. And let's talk about them. Now, one of the reasons that they have a hard time saying I have to limit my abilities because I can only do so much, the reason they have a hard time saying that is the degree to which they are desperately needed and the degree to which we are shorthanded. And especially when it's life or death situations, it's so easy to say, I'll just put in a couple more hours because there's just so much and somebody needs to do the work, and why not me? Now, the answer to why not me is this: because you need your rest. You need your rest. You need to go home. You need to eat. You need to sleep. You need to disconnect your brain from all of that in order to be 100% present for yourself, in order that you are refreshed, in order that you have the actual ability to focus. And when you come back into work, the quality of the work you do saves lives. That is why you must disconnect from that and engage in this. It's not because you can't be bothered. It's because you can only save one person at a time. And if you don't save you, you can't save anyone else. So that's the second kind of distraction. Okay. And the third kind of distraction is a little more complicated. The third kind of distraction is not being 100% convinced that you are worthy. And these distractions happen when we have not done our self-care, when we have not looked at the baggage we carry. And the reason it's difficult to look at it is because the baggage we carry isn't baggage that's matching luggage that's sitting in the middle of the living room floor. It's invisible. The baggage we carry consists of the stories we were told that we've lived our lives by that may not be true. Or they may have been true once and no longer apply. Now, one of the reasons that happens is because the world our parents, our caregivers, our guides grew up in is not the world we live in today. They may be giving us their best advice. Good morning. Good morning. So the third one, it's good to see you. It's really good to see you. The third one is this: if we have unresolved questions, if we are listening to an internal loop tape out of habit because we have always listened to it, we need to hit pause. We need to hit pause, and here's why. We cannot live our lives in the present if we are trying to live our lives in the past at the same time. You know, that thing I always say, the reason the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield is because we're not going that way. It's good to see, it's good to look in the rear view mirror to see what may be looming, but we're going this way. That's why the windshield is that big. So let's say someone important, someone pivotal, someone guiding you in your earlier years. Now, it could have been in childhood, it could have been in a teenager, even in your early 20s. Someone who really transformed the way you saw the world has told you something, and it resonated with you. For good or bad, it either inspired you positively or it struck fear in you. And now that is the story you tell yourself every day. All right. If you are engaged in making that story continue to be true, then it will distract you from the things you need to do, that you're meant to do, that will empower you. And we can only be in one place at the same time. So how do we fix that whole business with the baggage that we haven't looked at or thought about, keep bumping into and saying, "Oh, I got to do something about that"? We have to give ourselves permission to, with respect, hit pause on the thing we're doing and take care of it. Because the loop tape in our heads is stopping us from living a full life. It's stopping us from engaging. And all the people who are counting on us, all the people who love us and respect us and need us and want us here, they can't change anything until we change it. So the third issue that we have is the one that requires us to say, "I'll be back. I have homework. I miss you. I'll call you as soon as I can, as soon as I'm free." That's what I said to this friend of mine a couple of days ago. "I appreciate your passion. I love our time together. Right in this moment, I can't take it on. I have something that's really looming large that has to be looked after, has to be my priority." And you know the crazy thing? The friend said, "Oh, sure, no problem. Listen, good luck with that." And when I ended that conversation, I thought, how lucky am I? How lucky am I to have someone like that who's so understanding, who cares about me? And as it turns out, the thing they were looking forward to wasn't a pants on fire priority. They just kind of wanted to hang out because they missed me. Because we never know why they are engaged. We have to ask. And when I did that, I discovered that I had the freedom to take care of what I needed to take care of. So this is the kind of thing that we, when we are giving ourselves some time off, can think about. If we are too easily distracted, if we simply can't seem to focus and get things done, there's only three reasons. Either we don't care enough and we're looking for the distraction to be an excuse. I love watching those short videos, but not while you're driving. Why would you be watching that while you're driving? Because I don't really care where I'm going. I don't really care what happens. I've kind of given up on ownership and excitement in my real life. So I'm living vicariously because I can't be bothered. That's the first kind. Second kind is a little different. The second kind is a disaster. A disaster comes along and we have to make decisions on the fly. We have to figure out how to disengage and re-engage so that we keep our momentum going. And the third one is hidden. The third one, we have to start asking ourselves, why do I keep doing that? Why do we keep saying yes to this or no to this? What is wrong with me? Where did that habit come from? You can't be asking yourself that while you're trying to do this, so you have to beg off, "I'll be back," and take care of it. And that, by the way, quelle surprise, is what pivotry in motion is all about. How we find our distractions, how we define them and how we refine them, how we make them smaller so that we can live the best version of our life in this moment, and just get the best result from everyone. Because don't we deserve it? Of course we do. On Facebook, I told the story of prioritizing. And, and I think it bears repeating because it was just one of those things that, as a 15-year-old, I'm sort of staring at this woman. So we were stationed overseas and Canadians, and we would sometimes on the weekend go to one of the local American bases because, different stores, different people and whatnot, kind of hang out. And we were in a store and it's like 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. There's a woman there, gosh, an older woman, she's probably 35. And I'm there with my mom. And the woman was beautifully dressed, makeup all done and everything. She looked fabulous, great jewelry. Her hair was in curlers. She's all done, but not the hair. So I said to my mom, why is she wearing curlers? Probably my voice was a little too loud. I wasn't yelling. But the woman heard me and she turned and she said, oh, I know, it's really silly, isn't it? I feel so embarrassed, but I'm going to this amazing brunch and I want my hair perfect. Every time I tell this story. And 15-year-old me is thinking, and my mother said, oh, I know. And they're sort of laughing, but I'm standing there thinking, yeah, but you're in public now. Like you're at your PX. All the people who know you are seeing you now. Who are you seeing at lunch that isn't seeing you now? Are you going to wear curlers? Did you wear curlers to the wedding so you'd look great for the reception? I mean, what? Priorities. The woman didn't care how she looked in the grocery store. She wanted to look amazing and perfection for a party. But the same people were in two places because there's only so many people. And she forgot that. She wasn't paying attention. She was distracted. Why was she distracted? Well, 1, 2, 3, or maybe a hat trick, maybe a combination of all of them. Maybe the stories from the past that we live our lives by spilled over into version 1 or 2. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's fascinating the value we can lose without even knowing it, without even realizing that we are not living our best life because we've put ourselves on hold. And we found a reason to not take responsibility, to not own it. If that isn't the dumbest thing that we can do, I don't know what is. So I'm going to leave that with you today because I have to go and do some things because those things are also priorities in different categories. And I want to stay here and focus and be 100% with you. And then I must go and deal with the other flaming chainsaw. But before I go, and of course, I'll be back on Thursday. Before I go, I want to say a couple of things. One is that we never, ever know how much time we have. As a military kid, I always joke and say that military kids, they can't tell the difference between forever and 4:30. But oh, wait. Yeah. So if it's 4:30, you don't have forever. Make the most of it right now. Own it. The second thing is the people who love you, who are there, who you impact with your ripples, when they see you and they reach out because they care, because they're here for you, because you matter, They see you and they hear you. And they want to be part of your life being better. You know what it is the least you can do? The least you can do is show up for them to the same degree that they show up for you. Think about that. Thank you so much for coming, for taking the time, for watching today. These videos are all about us together having these conversations, finding our pivotary points, learning how to use them, polish them, perfect them. And I couldn't do it without you. I see you and I hear you. You matter. That's why I'm here. So until Thursday, because I'll be back, until Thursday, you know the drill. Be good to you. You're worth it. And remember to hug your loved ones. Thanks for watching.